this is my first time at ADFEST, and I have to say, I'm kind of reminded of what Cannes used to be like for me when it was much more about the creative and the creative work and what creative work does for the business. And it's nice to have a community or a place where, you know, all the conversations I hear are about creative and the creative product and the creative work and how are you selling creative, how are you making it. And the creative community needs places like ADFEST where we are the focus. I'm a huge believer in diversity, and this was a whole different level of diversity at ADFEST. So we had, you know, Indians, Singaporeans, Brazilians, Japanese. It was wonderful. And I've always said, but I think I will double down on what I say, which is that beautiful ideas, great ideas are universal, and they don't require that much explanation to get them and see how brilliant they are. Good ideas often need cultural understanding and someone to speak on their behalf. But it was really wonderful to see this diverse group of people that speak different languages, come from different areas of the world. We really did agree on what was great, which makes me love humanity. We're not that different. The details are different, but our beings are more alike than not. I think the agency of the future will be many kinds of agencies of the future, just like they've been in the past. I mean, I have seen, growing up in Greenville, South Carolina, I saw little small agencies that existed in that town. I've been in New York City and been a part of big agencies. I've seen in-house agencies work. I think we need to be careful to suddenly define this is where it's going to go. Different companies will need different things. I love in-house for certain companies because there's diversity within the company. So one of the reasons I've always thought agencies were a great way to go for clients is because in an agency you're exposed to people solving problems on different brands in different ways, and so you're inspired by, oh, that insurance company just did this, I'm working on toilet paper, but that's interesting, that triggers maybe how I'll think about something, versus if you're just working on one thing all the time, you sort of are in an echo chamber. And that's when I think in-house agencies don't work. But then there are a lot of companies that within the company there's a huge diverse line of products. So then you get that sort of fertile, interesting stuff's going on different places that I think is stimulating. I think when I say the tough year, it's a very tough year for creative agencies, but it's not a tough year, it's a tough decade. Because we have always struggled, best as I can tell, to figure out the value of creativity economically. And so we're in a terrible business model for creative agencies. FTEs, that's ridiculous. I can come up with $1 million idea in 5 minutes, and sometimes I can come up with a damaging idea that costs money in 3 weeks. That's no way to value what we do. And until we figure out a business model that starts to understand not only the power of affinity advertising that builds brand love, we think we understand performance marketing and how to do that. I don't even think we know how to consider the value of that. I really just think we have a business model problem more than a creative problem. I was hoping, when I took the job at Interpublic as creative advisor, really what I was hoping to do with Interpublic was start to define within these brands that we used to call holding companies, like what could Interpublic do differently to attract talent, retain talent, you know, offer, you know, a choice to a client on a, you know, cultural level. So that's kind of, for me personally, I'm like, oh, I was so excited to get to do that, which that won't happen now, I don't think. But I do think that, you know, my friends that are on the business side of reporting, they've been telling me, you know, for years, consolidation is going to happen. It's just a business imperative. And I think the consolidation of Omnicom and Interpublic coming together, I worked at Omnicom at BBDO for 24 years. I worked at FCB and Interpublic for 10. I can tell you personally that the way those companies interact with their agencies is quite similar. There's a lot of autonomy. There's a lot of belief in the power of creativity and the importance of creativity. There's a shared belief in brand distinction and that is a strength. And so that, to me, is all positive. I think, knowing John Wren and knowing Philippe Krakowski, they're very complementary in their styles and what they want to do. So I don't think that they're competitive in that sense, which can also be a problem when you look at these kind of consolidations. So I'm kind of optimistic, and I like to think that this will actually make our industry stronger.